Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn show, man. Today is June the 25th. 3 games in the W for today. But before we do that, we jump into a quick recap of yesterday. Absolutely annihilated as far as the short list goes. What I ended up betting was Minnesota. Just liking the bounce back spot. I took them first half, minus the 4.5, like we talked about. And they were losing at the end of the first quarter. Made a push right before halftime, but still was losing that game. Matter of fact, I think it was tied 40-40. Lose the third quarter, but then they win the fourth quarter. So when they needed to, they came back, but did not get the job done. As far as short list, like I got annihilated yesterday. Indiana first half looked like that was going to be a winner, but they just do this thing where they can score a lot of points and then they can't. And Caitlin Clark goes down. They end up losing that game outright to Phoenix last night. And then leaned Atlanta. Glad I stayed off that with the Valkyries coming off back-to-back losses. They were able to get the job done. Shut that Atlanta offense down, held them to 66 points. So I would have been wrong on that one as well. But yeah, turn the page, move forward. Wins, same thing, right? Turn the page, move forward. Another day to bet, another day to try to make some money. Let's get into it for today. I'm hopeful that you guys at least found some ways to make some money yesterday. So we start off with Jackson, AI Sports Betting Tool. It's linked in the description of the video. I wanted to switch the prompt up a little bit today and look for totals specifically. So I asked Jackson to analyze today's WNBA slate to identify the highest value opportunities for game totals, over-unders, highlight matchups with the largest discrepancy between the current sportsbooks line and the projected outputs based on team pace, so possessions per game, offensive/defensive efficiency ratings over the last 5 games, and head-to-head historical trends, specifically factoring in rest advantages and travel spots and missing key rim protectors or high-volume shooters, and provide the data, project the pace projections and analytical reasoning for each over-under recommendation. So the first one here is the Los Angeles Sparks over against the Toronto Tempo. So it says that this is the single most incorrectly priced total on the board. The market is at 180.5, and while that is a high number for the WNBA, the statistical profile of these two defenses suggests a track meet. Toronto's been an over machine recently, giving up points to everyone they face, while the Sparks rank near the bottom of the league in defensive efficiency, allowing 96 points per game. So news and narrative synopsis, it says that the situational context heavily favors a high-scoring affair. The Sparks are coming off an emotional home win, and they'll travel to Toronto. While they are missing Kelsey Plum, which is 24 points per game, and Cameron Brink, their offensive identity is shift to chuck and run style, sharing the rock and prioritizing three-point volume. Toronto's also shorthanded, missing Brittany Sykes and Kiki Rice, which has gutted their perimeter defense. In a matchup between two leaky defenses, they both prefer to push pace. The 180.5 total is beatable, even with Keystar's sideline. So better recommendation. I'm taking the over in this matchup. The combination of Toronto's defensive struggle and the Sparks' high pace offensive shift makes this the high probability play. So that is going to be the play for today. Excuse me. Let's jump into it. We're just going to leave with that one. So first up, we will go right into that game. We got the Sparks on the road. I think the line has shifted a little bit. Let me just double check it. I think this is Sparks getting a 1.5 now. These lines that I made are from yesterday. So we've seen a little bit of money come in on Toronto in this game to push it from the half up to the 180, up to the 1.5, and then the total. Let's see where it opened. It opened 180. Wow, all the way as high as 186.5 on FanDuel, and it's been bet down to about 179.5. And I kind of went back and forth on the total. We'll just start with the total. I kind of went back and forth on the total because Kelsey Plum is going to be out for this game with the leg injury. She's going to miss at least 4 weeks in a row. And then no Cameron Brink as well. And Toronto's also missing some defense, but some offense as well. Kiki Rice, which Jackson mentioned, and Brittany Sykes are both still out. And yes, this should be a really, really fast-paced game. You can see in the graphic that the Sparks are 5th in pace, and then Toronto just plays up and down the floor. They're 3rd in pace as well. So I kind of went back and forth because the total is so high. Can both of these teams get to 90 with all their key players, being out? I think that they can, but it's not something that I really want to put my money on. I guess proverbial gun to my head, I would bet over before I'm betting under, just because these are two really poor defenses. But if somehow the game slows down, or somehow one of these teams isn't necessarily making shots, I won't like it as much. So that's my thought process on the total. I don't think I'll bet the total at all. I also wrote in my notes that that the Sparks team is just 1-3 straight up and against the spread so far, without Kelsey Plum. The losses came to the Sun, the Aces, and the Lynx, and the only win came against the Washington Mystics. So, just 2-2 to the over-under, but those games are only averaging 168 points. So I couldn't quite get there. I know Toronto, really terrible defense. Both of these teams are, but I just worried, who's going to be able to score. As far as the side goes, you do got a Sparks team that's 5-2 straight up on the road, but I gave you guys the numbers without Kelsey Plum. They're just 1-3 straight up and against the number. And they're coming off a very inspiring win against the New York Liberty. Necker hit the three-pointer, no time left. They'd actually lost 2 in a row before that. And then the Toronto team, they're just 1-4 ATS at home. For whatever reason, Toronto's not been good at home. It's their first game back home off a 3-game road trip. And they played in 6 straight overs. 8 of their last 10 have gone over the number. So, if I bet the over, this will be 75-79. But it should be an over game. I'm just staying off of this one. From a player prop perspective, because we are expecting a lot of points, a couple things I wanted to share with you guys that I was looking at. And the first one is Maria Conde. I think she has one of the greater matchups. Just kind of looking at her numbers this season. We go here. We look at the whole season. Her points, rebounds, and assists is what I would play. Her 3-point prop is also something that intrigues me as well. But if we look here, we can see that she's averaging right at 14.8. We go to games without players. We take out Brittany Sykes. We take out Kiki. And we can see that she's played in 2 games. One against a really poor defense against Connecticut, where she had 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then one against a really good Atlanta defense, where she had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and no assists. So I think this is going to be closer to this game when we think about the Sparks defense. Not really good at all. You can come over here and see that the Sparks give up the 2nd most points. They give up the 4th most rebounds, and they give up the 2nd most assists. So somebody's going to have to do it. Typically, we just bet on crash out Marina Mabry, but I think Maria's in a really good spot today. I think her and another player prop, also like same game, same team actually, is Izzy. So Isabel Harrison listed at 14.5. This is also something that I considered in this game. You can see her points at 14.5, and these last few games just really been the ones without the key players. So I always like to look at full season. You can see that she's only played in 7 games so far, but she's over in 3 of her last 4. Field goal attempts, if we come down here, we can see that she's getting up 10.6 attempts per game, and look at the rising value, right? 7, 11, 12, 14, 16. So keeping in mind that the 10.6 is there. If we go games played without, we can see that number jumps all the way to 15 attempts per game. So she should be in for really good matchup. She has a really good matchup and a lot of volume, in my opinion, in this spot, Izzy Harrison. We know that De'Erica Hamby in the interior defense for the Sparks is not great, to say the least. So those are 2 player props that I considered. I guess, verbal gun to my head, I guess I would take over, but not a game that I'm going to be betting. And I also kind of feel like the Sparks can win the game. They just got to show me on the road. They have not been as great on the road without Kelsey Plum. I'm not laying points with Toronto, though. That would be the last thing that I'm doing. All right, next game up, we have New York and Seattle. So this line, see, is it still 12.5? Yeah, 12.5. Come down to 11.5 on a lot of books. Some books, in total, has gone up, right? I think this was 167. Yeah, 167.5 up to 169.5 on most books. You can still get 168.5 on DraftKings. You got Satu Sabli listed as questionable after leaving the game against the Aces in the last game, where she had the hit to the face. And she's the only person on the report for New York. And then Seattle continue to be without Jordan Horston. Izzy McBoy is still out as well. So New York coming off that really big win against the Aces. And they're still just 3-5 against the spread on the road so far this season. I think that's why some of the money has come in on Seattle in this spot. This is their third of a 4-game road trip as well. The last one will be in Golden State to finish off the road trip. Beat the Aces by 9 as 2.5-point dogs in that game. And the question you got to ask yourself is, do the Liberty let up in this game? Because they're not playing against a good team. We just saw them play against the Sparks and, couldn't get a stop in that game. They had actually gone over in 3 straight, just not playing a lot of defense. And then all of a sudden they play the Aces and their defense looks great again. So does Seattle have a little bit of a letdown spot with the Valkyries game coming up next? Potentially. I think they got revenge against the Valkyries as well. Seattle, for as poor as they are, like being able to, win games, they have covered some spreads. If we I looked at this. I didn't write it down. If the Storm are at home, they have only won 2 of their 7 games, so 22%, but they've covered 6 of their last 6 of 9, and they've actually covered 4 in a row. And, they're going to be getting big points like this for the rest of the season because their offense is just so inconsistent. And defensively, they've, started to give it up as well. They are coming off an overtime game against the Wings where they only lost by 2. And again, they've, they've covered 4 straight spreads. Mercury, Sparks, Valkyries, Wings, covered every single one of them. Sometimes it's been with their offense. Sometimes it's been with their defense. They only got to, they got to 110 against the Wings, but of course that game went to double overtime. Against the Valkyries, just 72. The game stayed under. Against the Sparks, what did they get to? 83, went over. Against the Mercury before that, just 68. And of course they stayed under. So it's really difficult to figure this Seattle team out. If I'm betting, I think I am taking over. I think just a couple things that jump out to me is the Storm have recently started to score the basketball a little bit more. They've actually played in, even though they're 11th in offensive rating in their last 5 games, they're 4-1 to the over in those games as well. And then another big thing that I considered is I just looked at road favorites that are laying double digits, and they typically have not played the greatest in defense, but they have been able to score. So only 7 times have we seen a double-digit road favorite so far this season. Those games are 6-1 to the over. And it kind of makes sense, right? After one of the best defensive performances from the Liberty this season, it makes sense that they will let up a little bit in this spot. And, if Seattle can come to the party, then we should see points in this game. New York can score at every level against this Seattle defense as well. So when we look at full season pace numbers, this New York Liberty team is 9th in pace and Seattle's 13th in pace. That doesn't really lend itself towards an over, but maybe they can clear the 170. I think that's the way I would look in this game. 168.5 is still available. I think I would be betting over. All right. Player prop wise, nothing for me, even though I know that Sabrina has been a really good rebounder. She kind of had her coming out party in that last game, 24 points and 10 boards against the Aces. See if she can do it again. Seattle, for as good as they've been, not been the greatest rebounding team. They actually give up the third most offensive rebounds. So maybe you look at Sabrina over her boards or something like that while the line is still low. Last but not least, hit the like if you can, subscribe if you have not. Last but not least, we got the Dallas Wings and the Las Vegas Aces, and this is the game that I like a little bit more than any of the others. So we look at the injury report here. Dallas has Alicia Clark listed as game time decision, no Odyssey Sims and no Elena Smith. And then the Aces will continue to be without Dana Evans and Kennedy Carter. Janiyah Barker continues to miss time as well. So Dallas does have a 1-day rest advantage here, but they are coming off a double overtime game in Seattle. They've now played in 3 straight overs. And then you got the Aces on the other side of things. Just 2-5 against the spread at home, but this is their 3rd straight home game. They're coming off that loss against the New York Liberty where they couldn't score the basketball. And they played in 4 straight unders offensively, never really got into a rhythm in that last game. And Dallas is actually 2-0, both straight up and against the number against the Aces so far this season. They were getting 5.5 in the first game, destroyed the Aces in that game. And then they were getting 2.5 as a home dog in that most recent matchup and beat the Aces by even more. I think they beat them by 33 in that game. It's like 99-66 or something like that, 96-66. Both were played in Dallas. And before the last one, we actually had 9 straight overs and then 1 under. The under came, of course, in the most recent matchup between these two teams, where the Aces scored just 66 points and again lost by 30 back on June the 15th. So this one, to me, not that Dallas isn't a bad team, Dallas has actually been playing really, really well. I like the Aces early in this spot, though. I bet Aces first half minus the 2.5. One, just looking at the Aces in the regular season in general, like dating all the way back to 2020, when they come off a loss where they struggle to score the basketball, they typically go over in those games, right? Offensive, positive regression typically happens. Couple systems I had on the Aces for the full game as well, just fading teams off overtime games where they, won the game in a regular season game, and then 2 teams with a 60% win percentage or better. You typically want to play the home team, especially if they have revenge. And then the Dallas Wings have more travel before this game. And the Aces have more rest collectively within the last 5 games as well. So I bet Aces. Other thing I wanted to mention was I listened to the post-game interview. Asia mentioned defense like multiple times and how they got to hang their hats on defense even when their shots aren't falling. It's not like they, gave up a ton of points. I think the Liberty only got to 87 in that last game, but they had some defensive lapses, specifically at the 3-point line, where you saw like Leonie Phoebish and Sabrina, knocked down some threes in that game. So off the loss with double revenge, it's an Aces spot for me, especially early in this game. I bet Aces minus 2.5 in the first half. That's my favorite play on the board for today. So quick recap. Actually, the only thing that I bet so far is Las Vegas first half minus the 2.5. It's available on Bet365. 3.5s are available out there as well. Excuse me. All right, so excuse me. All right, so let's go. Since I did bet that, that'll be in green. And then everything else is just leans right now. But I do like Maria. I think she's in a really good spot today over her 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists. In that same game, Izzy Harrison over her 14.5 points. New York and Seattle. I think I would go over the 168.5 as well. And I think Seattle can keep that game within the number 2. I do. And that'll be it for me. That will be it, man. Appreciate you all for tapping in. As always, check the resources out there listed in the description of the video. Jackson, Outlier, Moneyballer, OddsJam. And hit the like on the way out, man. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys in the next one, man.